I'm not finished with you! I'm not finished with you! I'm not finished with you!
Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 29 of Season 2 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Desertland 500 here at Arizona Speedway as we are getting set for 41 laps of racing here at this mile-and-a-half racetrack, and it should be quite the interesting affair as we are getting closer and closer to the end of the season. But before we look at the lineup, let's look and see how the points look coming into the race tonight. Chris Michaels' points lead continues to dwindle down, and he is now leading by only 22 points over his teammate David Rivera, 30 points over Nelson Thornhill, 59 over Dorian Facepuncher, and 75 over Rafael LeDuc, and 96 over Nathaniel Reed. So it's under 100 points separating the top 6 for the battle for the championship. Rest of the top 10, 7th Austin LaPlante, 8th Seth Cole, 9th Emmanuel Hartnett, 10th Joshua Sekuli. Rest of the top 20 in the points are, as in order, DJ Curtis, JT Bryant, Jesse King, Matt Haas, Grayson Ace Veto, Anthony McCreary, Kev Shear, Benjamin Miles, Dylan Young, and Dylan Thoreau. So yeah, that is how the top 20 looks coming into the race. And also, keep an eye out on that fight for the 30th spot in the point standings, as it's only 12 points separating Johnny Gardner and Jonathan Zorleen. And Jonathan Zorleen did qualify his way into the race, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen between him and Gardner in this race. But let's look at the lineup. Starting in the last row is Jessica Shelton and Phil Parker. Now looking at the top 10, Sean Galligan is on the pole for tonight. Starting next to him is Cole Deaver. Row 2 is Mark Lane and Johnny Gardner. Row 3, Joshua Sekuli and Benjamin Miles. Row 4, Nathaniel Reed, Dylan Young. And then row 5, Nelson Thornhill and JT Bryant. Where are the other drivers in the top 5 starting? You got David Rivera in 11th, Rafael LeDuc 13th, Dorian Facepuncher in 20th, and then Chris Michaels in 30th. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here tonight. But let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Desertland 500 at Arizona Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As the cars are pulling out onto the racetrack for their one and only pace lap around here. Now, we went to this racetrack early in the season. I believe it was like race 6 this season, to my remembrance. And it was a very, very competitive race. We had 2 different drivers lead 8 laps apiece, and only 8 laps was the most that a driver led in that race early this season. Every other time it was always big time passing for the lead. But at the same time, a big wreck can really shake up the field if we get one of those tonight. So we shall see if these drivers who raced earlier this season at Arizona can handle it this time around and not cause a wreck. But then again, you may have a few drivers in this race that didn't qualify for Arizona that are racing here for the first time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And also, let's quickly talk about the rookie points. Right now, the closest we got for rookie points, well, actually, we'll save that for whenever we get through lap number 1, is the pace cars in pit road, which means it's time to boogity, 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 go racing. Well, that was lap number 1. Mark Lane leads that lap, but now here comes Joshua Sekuli for position. Now, real quickly, and whoa! Benjamin Miles gets the wall, and there they go. A big crash is ensuing here on the backstretch, and I see Rafael Leduc was involved, and Chris Michaels, the points leader, was involved, and he got some damage out of that. Maybe not, I don't know. He did run into Leduc, but that is the second week in a row Rafael Leduc gets into a crash in the early goings of an event. Dylan Young's got damage, James Shelley, Matt Haas, Matt McIntyre. A lot of cars suffered big time from this incident. And I don't know what happened to cause that crash. I think it was from Benjamin Miles going up into the wall, and I think he came down in front of traffic. But some pit strategy is about to happen. Some drivers are going to pit, some are going to stay out. One of those drivers staying out is last week's winner, Nelson Thornhill. So, since he's going to be your leader on this restart, let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time tonight here at Arizona. Well, here's a look at what happened. So this is double contact. First, contact from the 21 and the 22, and then contact from the 83 into the... Actually, triple contact. The 83 into the 12, and the 12 into the 22. And it was just a close situation right there. And Benjamin Miles got up into the wall, comes back down in front of traffic, and ends up blocking almost the entire field in the back, as a lot of cars are going to come flying into this crash. Like right there was a big hit from Zorline into Leduc. Oscar Anderson took a big hit in this wreck, and then right there Chris Michaels tries to get slowed up, gets into Leduc just a little bit, and then he gets hit from behind by PJ Williams, so it's going to be hard to tell if Chris Michaels is going to still be up to speed. But then again, last week at Bermuda, he had something similar to this and still kept going. But let's go back to how this wreck starts one last time. So it's going to be triple contact. First the 22 and the 21, then the 22 and the 12, and then the 12 and the 83. So just a lot of close racing going on early on, and Benjamin Miles ends up paying the price for it, as everybody ends up getting collected after he bounced off the wall and came down into traffic. Right there, Shelley into the back of Matt Haas, and James Qualls ended up getting involved. Dylan Young got big front-end damage as a result. But Rafael Leduc, he's just had some bad luck ever since he won Old Spice. The last couple of races, it's like pretty much since Old Spice, he has been falling in the points, and he definitely is hoping for a miracle to rebound and try to fight for the championship again. So, tough break for the 99, and a tough break for a lot of guys, including Jonathan Zorline, who was hoping to get back in the top 30 in points. And how in the world did Charles Jackson get damage? Oh, there was another crash that happened that we didn't even know about. This was actually what brought the caution out. I completely didn't notice this happen. Let's see what happened here. It looks like nearly 4 wide. Oh, Jesse King gets into Chris Michaels and comes down into Dylan Thoreau and Charles Sanford. And Sanford sends the 51 up the track. The 03 gets spun, and Charles Jackson ran into the back of Jesse King. So this was actually what brought the caution out. That bigger wreck was after the fact. Because I noticed, I saw Charles Jackson have damage, and I didn't see him get into that bigger wreck. So yeah, this was actually what brought the caution out. Very, very bizarre, but let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Arizona. Well, only 3 cars retired out of the race after 2 different wrecks, and they were James Shelley, Rafael Leduc, and Jonathan Zorling. So for the second week in a row, Rafael Leduc finishes 41st, so he definitely is going to have to finish well the rest of the season if he's going to have any hope of winning the championship, or at least being in contention. But anyway, some pit strategy happened. Some cars stayed out, a lot of cars pitted. Nelson Thornhill is your leader. Second is Sean Galligan. Third is Cole Deaver. Fourth is Kev Shearer. Fifth is Oscar Anderson. Sixth is Dorian Facepuncher. Seventh, Preston Plord. Eighth, David Rivera. Ninth, Emmanuel Hartnett. 10th, Joshua Sakuli. Rest of the top 20 is JT Bryant, Trent Dunham, Mark Lane, Matt McIntyre, Joshua Collard, Johnny Gardner, Nathaniel Reed, Austin LaPlante, DJ Curtis, Dougie Shears. Top 30, Dylan Young, Chris Michaels, Kyle Matthews, Zach Rogers, Chris Dollarton, PJ Williams, Jessica Sheldon, Phil Parker, Charles Sanford, and Dylan Thoreau. And the rest of the lead lap cars are Paul Minnick, James Qualls, Matt Haas, Anthony McCurry, Charles Jackson, Grayson Acevedo, Seth Cole, Benjamin Miles, Jesse King a lap down. Back underway with 35 to go here at Arizona. Still a long way to go in this race. And Nelson Thornhill trying to pull out ahead with the lead. And he stayed out under that caution. So this is going to create some interesting pit strategy if this race goes green for a while. And there you see all the skid marks from earlier. But anyways, Thornhill has the lead, but Galligan, the pole sitter, is trying to come back and try and lead a lap since he was the pole sitter and he didn't lead lap 1. So he's trying to get that bonus point. And Galligan will lead this lap, so he gets that bonus point for leading a lap. But now here comes the rest of the field as it got separated just a tad, I think, from the 51 being off the pace. Now everybody's starting to reel in the top 2 again, and the caution is out. And Dylan Young's involved again, same with Qualls. Kyle Matthews with damage, Sanford with more damage. Chris Dollarton was involved in whatever this was, so another multi-car incident brings the caution out. And Galligan still led that lap, but we gotta keep an eye on this to make sure nothing else happens like we had before, and I think it's gonna be okay. But yeah, quite a few cars are damaged goods after that. Although Oscar Anderson got turned around. Oh man, careful everyone! I guess there must have been a stack up, but no real damage to anybody. So that's relief. But now, most of the field's coming in the pit road, although it looks like only 2 cars are electing to stay out on track. And it looks like they will be the top 2 when we get back to racing. I believe it's Matt McIntyre, Dougie Shears. So Matt McIntyre will be your leader on the next restart. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the second time tonight here at Arizona. Well, here's a look at what happened, and it looks like Zach Rogers got really tied up off the corner and gets up into Kyle Matthews and also turns Matthews down into the 23 of Chris Dollarton. They both come back up the track and collect Dylan Young, James Qualls, and Charles Sanford. So those were the primary drivers that were involved, were just those 5 cars. Zach Rogers did get the outside wall a little bit after the fact, but Dylan Young took quite a hard lick. Let's actually see the mile-per-hour rating on the 2. Right there, a big hit in the driver's side by Kyle Matthews, and then hit the rear end and the outside wall very hard at 165 miles an hour. And Kyle Matthews actually almost turned over from Qualls. But look at that. 3 of those cars are Retro Racing Enterprise teammates. And I think that's actually 3/4 of that team. The only driver that wasn't in it that's still going is Jessica Sheldon. So 3 of her teammates are basically damaged goods after that. And Dylan Young, pretty much his car ended up dead after the fact. So with that said, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Arizona. Well, after that last caution, 2 more cars are out of the race, and they include Dylan Young and Kyle Matthews. And we got numerous cars a lap down, so this is going to be quite a testy restart for the lead lap cars. But Matt McIntyre is your leader, and second is Dougie Shears, and those two stayed out under that last caution, so they did not pit. Everybody else did. Third is Joshua Cooley. Fourth, Emmanuel Hartnett. Fifth, Johnny Gardner. Sixth is Trent Dunham. Seventh, Nelson Thornhill. Eighth, Cole Deaver. Ninth, Preston Plord. 10th, Nathaniel Reed. 11th is Mark Lane. 12th, DJ Curtis. 13th, Kev Shearer. 14th, David Rivera. 15th, Oscar Anderson. 16th, Jessica Shelton. 17th, Austin LaPlante. 18th is Paul Minnick. 19th, JT Bryant. 20th is Sean Galligan. Rest of the top 30. In 21st is Joshua Collar. 22nd, Anthony McCurry. 23rd, Chris Michaels. 24th, Phil Parker. 25th, Dorian Facepuncher. Then it's PJ Williams, Charles Jackson, Dylan Thoreau, Grayson Acevedo, Matt Haas, the top 30. And then the rest of the lead lap cars are Seth Cole, Zach Rogers, Benjamin Miles. Lap down are Jesse King, Chris Dollarton, James Qualls, and Charles Sanford. The green flag is back out with 28 to go. So we still got a long ways away from this race being over. And now we gotta keep an eye on everything happening back here with all these slow machines holding up a lot of drivers 3 wide, so you gotta keep an eye on this. Some cars are still trying to figure out a way around. But while this is happening, I'm going to go ahead and try to get to what I've been trying to talk about all race, and that's the rookie points. So it's pretty much going to come down to the top 6 in the rookie standings. Nathaniel Reed, Matt Haas, Mark Lane, Joshua Cooley, Grayson Acevedo, and Jesse King. It's separated by only 18 points between those 6 drivers. 4 between Reed and Matt Haas. So it's going to be quite interesting to say the least as to who will win Rookie of the Year in Season 2. And right now that rookie points leader, Nathaniel Reed, running in 9th. So he's got a good run going right now. But back up here at the front, Matt McIntyre, who got minimal damage in that big one early on, he's up here in the lead, and he's leading over Johnny Gardner, who came in 12 points ahead of 30th in points. And with Jonathan Zorling out of the race, he's definitely going to pull away from Zorling in the points. So Gardner trying to do what he can to pull away from the outsiders of the top 30. But also he's trying to work on getting, I think this would be his 2nd win this season. Yes, it would be his 2nd win of the season if he was to win. But they've got a charging Nelson Thornhill behind them. And Nelson Thornhill trying to go for win number 3 and 2 in a row. Or no, not 2 in a row. What am I talking about? Or actually, no, it would be 2 in a row. He did win last week at Bermuda under caution. So he is trying to go for 2 in a row. And his 4th of the season, I should say. And here he comes. But then again, you got Trent Dunham, who's been looking for his 1st win in the Marvel Studios Cup Series. Joshua Cooley, who is a winning rookie this season, top 10 in the points, he's trying to make up ground. Meanwhile, Dougie Shears, still within reach, but not quite up to the leaders. Same with Emmanuel Hartnett, and then it's 2.5 seconds all the way back to Preston Plord, and that's all a result of the slower lap down machines being in the way of everybody. And you gotta wonder when the leaders could encounter those guys again. But anyways, the battle goes on for 2nd, and Nelson Thornhill has the run underneath of Gardner, so he's gonna manage to get up there and maybe get clear. But here comes Cooley, who's right on his tail. But Thornhill clears Gardner, but now Thornhill, I thought he was going to leave too much of that bottom open for Cooley to make a move, but he manages to hold him off for the time being. But Cooley has a run as Matt McIntyre. Nobody's been able to pass him since the restart. But then again, that could be mostly attributed to a lot of space separation because of the lap machines, but still. Anyways, Cooley now has a run underneath of the 78. Beats him for 2nd at the line. as we just got past the halfway point a couple laps ago. But I think the first car that these leaders may encounter very soon is Charles Jackson, but who knows if that's going to be the case. But Matt McIntyre going to sacrifice the lead to come in the pit road. And he stayed out under that caution, so yeah, I guess he had to come in the pit road. Is Dougie Shears with him? Because Shears, remember, he stayed out with the 24. No, he's still out on track, but he won't be out there for long, I bet. Let's look at his mile per hour rating and watch his speeds. Yep, he's slowing down. He's coming in the pit road. So I think, yeah, everybody else that pitted except for the 24 and the 83 are going to be about 5 laps more on gas than the 24 and the 83. So this is going to be interesting if this race finishes out under green. But anyway, Sekuli has the lead, and then you got Gardner in second, Thornhill in third, and then Trent Dunham in fourth. So this is the fight for the lead right now with these top 4 drivers. As Emmanuel Hardinet continues to lose sight of the leaders. But then again, you got this pack of cars led by now David Rivera, who's now in the 6th position. They are gaining on the top 5, but not by very much. And that's because they're in a huge pack and therefore running at higher speeds. And right now, Galligan is the leader of that pack. And they are trying to do the best they can to catch up to the top 4. And now the leaders have caught the slower machines, so that could be what those guys from 5th on back needed to catch up to the top 4. But who knows by how much, though. That's the thing. And Hardnet's coming in the pit road, and I think he pitted with everybody else under that caution. So that could be the sign of green flag pit stops for everyone, not just him. Let's keep an eye on Gardner and watch him. Yeah, he's slowing down, so yeah, everybody's going to be pitting here in these next couple laps. Gardner's in, so is Sekuli and Dunham. But Thornhill is going to stay out another lap. And this may be good strategy, but oh, there goes Galligan. Oh, hard hit into the outside wall. Vicious crash. And oh, side swipe from Austin LaPlante. And that destroyed the motor of Sean Galligan. Caution immediately out as Galligan just got totaled in that crash. And Nelson Thornhill stayed out another lap. This is going to be really, really interesting now, because the caution happened as drivers were pitting, and this may cause a problem with the scoring. Who knows, however, but Thornhill is the leader, but he is going to probably come into pit road now since we're under caution. Let's keep an eye on him for just a moment. Yep, he's coming into pit road. So, smart move, and then everybody else that stayed out for extra laps are coming in. So, this is really going to shake up the field, and you got McCrory still out on track. I don't think he's going to be your leader. But let's go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the 3rd time tonight here at Arizona. Well, here's a look at what happened, and it all starts whenever Galligan catches up to the 03 of Charles Sanford. That causes everybody to start scrambling because of how are they going to get around. And then right there, Sanford just runs Galligan down the track and then down into Dorian Face Puncher, and that's going to turn Galligan up, and then a vicious hit in the outside wall, passenger side first. And the only car that got any kind of damage after the fact would be Austin LaPlante, as we're going to see him come into the screen momentarily. Phil Parker actually got a little piece of it, but right there was the contact from LaPlante that ended up blowing the engine up on the 44. But, and you gotta wonder if LaPlante will be up to speed, because typically for some reason in this series, whenever cars sideswipe one another, it could destroy both motors. of the drivers. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to say the least, but let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Arizona. Well, after that last caution, only one other car retired out of the race, and that was Sean Galligan. Now, the scoring is very interesting because there is your leader, Nelson Thornhill, and he's in the middle of the pack. So he's going to be your leader on this restart. Second is Nathaniel Reed. Third, Preston Plord. Fourth, Kev Shearer. Fifth, Dorian Facepuncher. Sixth, Mark Lane. Seventh, David Rivera. Eighth, PJ Williams. Ninth, DJ Curtis. 10th is Phil Parker. 11th is Dylan Thoreau. Look at that. 3 of those Stewart Haas racing cars right there. 12th, Chris Michaels. 13th, Jessica Sheldon. 14th, Austin LaPlante. 15th is Cole Deaver. 16th, Oscar Anderson. 17th, Matt Haas. 18th, JT Bryant. 19th, Grayson Acevedo. 20th, Joshua Collard. And then 21st is Seth Cole. Everybody else is ahead of the leaders in different places. So then it'd be Johnny Gardner, Joshua Sekuli, Matt McIntyre, Trent Dunham, Paul Minnick, Dougie Shears, Benjamin Miles, James Qualls, Zach Rogers, and then you got more scattered one lap down or more lap down cars all over the place. But the green flag is back out here at Arizona. Nelson Thornhill has the lap car of Charles Sanford between himself and Nathaniel Reed, and now Thornhill going to split 3 wide over the lap car of James Qualls, and then the now lap car of... Whoa! Wow, that was a close call between Reed and Qualls. But that's going to screw Nathaniel Reed's chances of winning this race potentially, unless more lap down cars end up holding up the field, or hold up the leaders. But Nelson Thornhill's doing a good job of getting through lap traffic. He's just hoping that nobody wrecks in front of him so he doesn't get collected, because we have had this happen before on this YouTube channel in other series, and the caution is out again. And it's for Qualls and JT Bryant, Preston Plord, as they had a crash. And big time damage, so this must have been a bad wreck. Now, we're not sure if they're going to be able to get back to racing in time. We just got to wait and see. I think they may be able to do a green-white checkered, or at the very least, a one-lap shootout. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But Nelson Thornhill's still your leader. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the 4th time tonight here at Arizona. Well, here's a look at what happened. It's going to be from contact right there from Dylan Thoreau into Preston Plord, and they come down into JT Bryant, and then look at that. Hard slam into the outside wall for James Qualls as a result of contact. Matt Haas actually got involved, so this was actually a 4-car crash, but man, James Qualls just took a hell of a ride. Got slammed at 195 miles an hour into the outside concrete wall, and ends up causing him to go wall riding, i.e. in the way of i.e. Martin Truex Jr. at Richmond, Casey Kane at Bristol, and so on and so forth. But man, that was a hard crash for the 70 and the 22. It was the 22 slammed up into the 70 after he got turned by Preston Plord, who got turned by Dylan Thoreau. So a lot of brutal wrecks have happened here tonight, but let's go ahead and take you to what could be our final restart here at Arizona. Well, after that last caution, we got 2 more cars out of the race, and they include Preston Plord, James Qualls. Or actually, no more are out. PJ Williams is out. Nathaniel Reed is out. Cole Deaver and JT Bryant. I'm not sure what happened with Deaver, Williams, and Reed, but must have been something major. But we are going to get a green-white checkered to close this race out. But I don't think there's going to be any competition. I think the winner's already determined, because right now, Nelson Thornhill is your leader, but look who's second. Dorian Facepuncher, who has about 4 cars in between himself and the leader. I don't think anything's going to happen unless one of those guys ahead of Facepuncher causes some kind of ruckus. But anyways, then 3rd is Mark Lane, 4th David Rivera, 5th is Phil Parker. 6th is Chris Michaels, the points leader, having a good run. 7th, Austin LaPlante. 8th, Jessica Sheldon. 9th, DJ Curtis. 10th, Oscar Anderson. After all this mix-up with the scoring, because we're under 10 to go, and it causes a big mess, but green-white checkered. I think this is the first time this season we've got a green-white checkered. And here we go, we're back underway. Green, next flag ends at the yellow or white, or whenever they get to the white, then it's checkered or yellow. Dorian Facepuncher actually had to go by Benjamin Miles, but oh man, this could be the opening for the 62. The 24 and the 9 are going underneath the leader. And Facepuncher is on his way to the front. Oh, we could be setting up for a memorable finish. The white flag is out. Top 2 of the top 5 in the points are going to fight for the win. Thornhill trying to go for 2 in a row and win number 4. Facepuncher trying to go for win number 3 this season and 4th of his career. Facepuncher better pull out to the bottom. Oh, it's going to be an interesting fight. Facepuncher's right on the back bumper, but I don't think he's going to have enough. Checkered flag is going to wave. Nelson Thornhill goes 2 in a row this season, 4th of the season and of his career. Nelson Thornhill wins the Desertland 500 at Arizona in a real good finish. Man, Nelson Thornhill, if he can keep up this momentum, he could be a guy to beat for the title, but then again, we still got a good ways to go in the season before we can determine a champion, but man, what a performance by the 78 team. But let's look at the rest of the results. Dorian Facepuncher, so close. He got to the 78 on the white flag lap, but man, if he would have pulled down low for the move in turn 3, I think he would have had him, but great points day nonetheless for the 2. Mark Lane was the highest finishing rookie in 3rd. Great run for him. 4th, David Rivera, so he's going to, he's only going to gain 1 point on the points lead because look who finished 5th. Points leader Chris Michaels, so he's going to probably only have the points lead by less than 20 points. We'll see. But anyways, Phil Parker with a great run in the 6th position. Solid 7th place run for DJ Curtis. Great run in 8th for Dylan Thoreau. Actually, all 3 of the Stewart-Haas cars finished top 10 tonight. So great run for that team. Solid run in 9th for Joshua Collard, and then a great run in 10th for Oscar Anderson. Rest of the top 20 was Grayson Acevedo, Paul Minnick, Joshua Sekuli, Austin LaPlante, Seth Cole, Trent Dunham, Johnny Gardner, Jessica Sheldon, Kev Shearer, Emmanuel Hartnett, and then the last 2 to finish on the lead lap were Matt Haas and Matt McIntyre. Everybody else that finished were a lap or more down. Zach Rogers, Dougie Shears, Benjamin Miles, Anthony McCurry, Jesse King, Charles Jackson, Charles Sanford, Chris Dollarton, and everybody else is out of the race after all the wrecking that happened. Cole Deaver, Nathaniel Reed, PJ Williams, JT Bryant, Preston Plord, James Qualls, Sean Galligan, Dylan Young, Kyle Matthews, James Shelley, Rafael LeDuc, and Jonathan Zorline. So that does it for our coverage here tonight here at Arizona Speedway. Next week, we head back to Talladega for the Geico 500. And then after that, we have only 6 races left. So an update as to where we are going to be going the next 6 races after Talladega. We're going to go to the road course of Yas Marina Circuit, then back to Atlanta, and then a mystery track, then Phoenix, then we're returning to Sawmill, and then the finale at Kansas. But until we get to Talladega, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into Talladega, and this is Levi McIntyre signing off.